Tonight, we're going to do something new. At least I think new to all y'all. We're going to play Ask the Rabbi. Now, there are rules to Ask the Rabbi. You get to ask questions of this rabbi. You may not ask questions about congregational policy and procedure. This is a time for you to say, hey, Rabbi, I noticed at that holiday, this blah, 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 blah. Or how come blah, blah, blah Jews do this? I reserve the right to phone the other rabbi in the room to help answer the questions. And if needed, to argue over the answers, or debate, as we should say, in true Jewish fashion. So I'll give you a moment. People joining us on the live stream, you're welcome to email me your questions. I will not see them until after Shabbat, but they'll be there, and if I have an answer, I'll respond. So this is your chance. Think, what is that question? Oh, we already have a hand ready to go. Hands already in the air. Wild and crazy requests coming hard, coming in strong. You do have to speak into the microphone with your question.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I've always wanted to know, during the Amidah, the first two times we say Baruch Atah Adonai, we bow, and then we don't.
Oh, such a good question. What's with the bowing in the first blessing of the Amidah, the Avov Imahot? Thank you, Sari, so much for that question. There will be no need for debate about this one. So, in the first blessing of the Amidah, we spent the last 10 days talking a lot about God as a royal figure, right? Sovereign, etc. And when you greet, for those of you who've met a sovereign of any nation, what do you have to do? You bow, right, okay. So when you're approaching God, it's a custom, it's not a rule. Many people, they do this thing where they walk backwards first, because you need the space sometimes in the pew. They walk forward and say, Baruch Atah Adonai, and they bow, and then when the prayer is concluded, what do you do when you leave a sovereign? There was big controversy about this recently, about who bows and who doesn't, and etc. What do? You also bow, right? So you're leaving the sovereign space. And so that is the reason, according to some tradition. Would you like to argue with me about that answer? A follow-up question. New to Ask the Rabbi, follow-up question.
But there are, after the two bowing episodes, there's more Baruch Atah Adonai, right?
Right.
And we don't bow then?
We don't. Some people do in the Givorot. I believe the other rabbi in the room does bow at the end of the Givorot. I don't know why. There's also an idea, you can ask her at the Oneg. There's also an idea that in a blessing, there's a peticha, an opening, and a closing, and so that is like one complete blessing. There's also some people, please someone, if you know the answer, tell me later, who go up on their toes for the matriarchs and patriarchs. I'm 100% convinced someone was just like spilky and was doing this, and it caught on, the sitting and the standing for the Shema. I'm 100% convinced. Okay, there was other questions.
So if I send an email to a family member asking for forgiveness, and they send an email back saying, and I tell them why I think I need forgiveness, and they send an email back saying, I appreciate your email. It was very thoughtful and meaningful. Do I have to ask 2 more times? Do they have to say, I forgive you, or I accept your apology, or is that an acceptance?
It sounds to me, without too many specifics, like that was an acceptance. Okay. And also, you put it out there that you were asking for forgiveness. Should they not have responded at all, you also made the effort. There are some who say you have to do it 2 more times, and different rabbis argue, as we will not have tonight, apparently. Oh, follow-up question. We're a new trend.
Who's the other rabbi in the room?
Oh, the other rabbi in the room is Rabbi Denise Egger, also known as my wife, right? Yeah, her. But don't worry, it would be a true argument, I promise. Or debate, I should say debate. We don't really argue, we discuss things. Yes?
This is a fun game, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Would you please let us know, when a Jewish couple has a baby girl, what is the time frame for having a Jewish baby naming? And it's a 2-part question, timing, and also, can the couple have a baby naming in Austin and then in the mother's hometown?
Sure. Okay, great question. Much debated amongst modern Jewish thinkers because, of course, Judaism was not always the most egalitarian of religions. And so there's a debate. Some say you should do it still on the 8th day. If you're a purist and your egalitarian belief, if you would do that for a male-born child, you should do the same for a female-born child. There are others who say there's flexibility. You could do it at 30 days. You could do it at a time more convenient. The 8-day thing, if you have had given birth to a son, is a little tricky, mostly for the person who gave birth. So that there is no right or wrong about when you would name a baby, and certainly I would say more namings the better. Maximize the joy, as long as the name's the same. That could be confusing. That could be difficult. Am I getting a nod back there from the other? Oh, thank God. Agreement. Only agreement. Oh, we're going wild with Ask the Rabbi tonight. Oh, Parker is going to supplant you. Sorry, Jennifer. No, he has. Oh.
Why does the Torah have vowels and why are some letters like the same?
Why doesn't the Torah have vowels? To make it harder for B'nai Mitzvah students, obviously. Actually, the Hebrew language, the Torah is probably closer to what the Hebrew language may have looked like. There are no vowels in lots of other ancient texts. We added the vowels in to make it easier for those of us who are learning Hebrew to be able to understand it better. And the vowels do change sometimes the meaning of the word and more importantly, the pronunciation of the word, which is really what we care about. But Parker, the answer you care about is to make it hard for you. Okay, now Jennifer, you can.
This is much more theoretical.
Oh,
and
all right, we're getting juicy.
A little deep.
I didn't know you all had these deep-seated questions.
I never get to talk to you because I'm just running in and out. So my children, at various points, I think in thinking about their relationship with God, have asked, how do I think about my relationship with God when also there's, such, terrible things that have happened in the world, and my father struggled with this too, such as the Holocaust or the hostage situation. So what would you say to a curious child who would ask about that?
Well, and because there's other questions, we should probably discuss that at length, probably in my office or yours, a little bit later. There's a longer, more intense question. Usually to a child, the best answer is, why do you think? You know the human development thing that you might know more about than me? That is one approach. There are bad things that have happened. There's lots of Jewish theology has a lot to say about why and when bad things happen, how we respond to it. There's a multiplicity of approaches, all of which are very Jewish. We'll talk, maybe after the bar mitzvah. Okay, b'nai mitzvah. Sorry, gentlemen. Okay. Oh, we like it when the children ask the questions. Okay.
Okay, this is kind of a random question, but what does God look like?
Great question. Well, Maimonides would say people have looks and shapes and all the things. God is too fast. And we actually we place onto God things that we understand like noses and eyes and faces and hair color. But God has no form. However, watch this. Seth, what do you think God looks like? You don't know?
No.
Okay, see? Seth didn't know. See what I did there? All right, all the board members have their hands up. What's going on?
Okay, this is another bowing question.
Oh, okay.
And in the style of Seinfeld,
Mm-hmm.
what's the deal with in the last paragraph of the Kaddish?
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who bow left and right or right and left at the end, and some don't. But I'm always wondering what that's about.
Yes. Okay. So. Sorry. Lenny asks at the end of the Kaddish, why do some people do like a reversal of the kind of like a dancy angel situation? Some people do it at the end of the Kaddish if the words Oseh Shalom sort of is like a concluding of their prayer. Some people do it at the end of the Amidah, where also those words of Oseh Shalom are just sort of, again, I think someone had the shpilkis, and like it looked nice, and like, oh, why do we do that? The rabbi in the back, you should all know, is now covering her face in embarrassment. Again, with the board members and their questions, we're just on a roll. Carol and Ari, you're next.
What, if you could, because you can, what might you want to add to the service?
I would add.
And then also, what would you remove from the service?
Oh, okay. What would I add to the service? Well, let's see. What would I add? Well, first of all, you can always add to the service because the Amidah is supposed to be personal. So whatever you need to say, there is the space for it. I think I would add... This is where that fixed liturgy really gets me. I really like it because it's there to keep us organized. I think the themes... So here's the challenge, right? We're all very familiar with Shabbat liturgy, which truncates the Amidah section and from 19 blessings to 7 blessings. Right, we knew this. Yes, we're nodding our heads. Great. Okay, so in the weekday, there's many more themes that are included in the Amidah. So I feel like a lot of themes that I might want to add are already there. I think if we were to do a service, thank you, Gabriel, for that. We didn't plan that musical assistance. It's really helpful. I don't know what I would add. I just don't know. What I would take away, I said yesterday, so I'll say it again. On the high holy days, I would cut out that unatana tokef out of there. Ta-ta, adios. But we don't have to see it now for another few months. I'll get back to you on what I would add. Oh, really, the board members are raising their hands.
I love being here on Friday nights, but I get bored because we do the same thing every Friday night. Why can't we mix it up?
Oh, Carol.
Rabbi, can I have something to say about that one?
I could say something like, if you think it's boring here, go try across the parking lot.
Can I have something to add to that, Rabbi?
Oh.
I would just like to point out that I've had to learn new songs for every Friday that I've been here. Just a little thought.
Thank you. We could discuss those feelings, or Jennifer could help also about those feelings as well. Oh, so the reason is, Carol, dear Carol, there's 2 ideas in Jewish prayer life. One is keva, which is the rote prayer. That's why we have a prayer book with things in a specific order. And when we disrupt the order, it's very fun, and it's Purim, and it's like, ooh, they did the Elenu first. Oh, my goodness. We'll probably do that, so spoiler alert for Purim. There's other idea, which is kavanah, which is like your deeper intention. And for some people, you have to have the rote prayer, kind of like getting the rhythm going of your daily routine, to get to the deeper place of the kavanah. I will tell you, as I said, I think approximately 17 times over the course of the High Holy Days, you have a book in your hand that has a lot of pages in it, and I promise, at Temple Beth Shalom, we never read every page. So even if you feel bored, I believe that was your word. We'll note that later, Gabriel. It's okay. It's okay. Carol and I have a lovely relationship. I can say that. I'm not saying that about anybody else. It's okay, everyone. You won't be judged or anything. We're past that. We're just counting for next year now. Some people need that regularity and routine to know what to expect. Others like the spontaneity of all the different tunes, never really knowing. Gabriel loves it when I throw new tunes at him, right? But you're also always welcome to bring in your own, I would say, Jewish reading. You know, the article you didn't get to finish. There's no, like, you have to read every page in the book. You can go into your own zone. I just do remind you that I can see when you are using your phone during the service. You think I can't, but we can. The lights aren't that bright. Okay, all that, what's going on? Okay. Oh, are you going to answer the question, Mark?
I was just going to suggest for the addition, you might consider the sacrificing of a board member every Friday.
Spoken like a true Jewish professional. All right. To be clear, I do not condone such behavior or activity. Okay. Anyone who hasn't asked a question yet? Oh, Ari, okay, you're going to get the last question.
I actually have a bunch of questions, but I'll just stick to one. When it comes to Hebrew names for babies, what are the specific rules? Could I use like a name that appears in the Torah but isn't like an actual Hebrew word, or does it have to be a Hebrew word?
There are no rules. Why did everyone is worried about the rules? Naming a child, there are no rules for the Hebrew name. So, for example, in Ashkenazi custom, we typically do not name after people who are alive. We think it's like a little, we say kind of hora, it's a little bit of a baba maisa, etc. In the Sephardic tradition, it is an honor, it's a kavod to name after people who are alive. So in Sephardic families, there can be 15 people with the name David. So it's really up to the parents to decide. I would say that a wise rabbi would help guide you if you were going to pick a Hebrew name that was like very peculiar and hard to pronounce, and should one day your kid, who you never know when at the time of their birth, want to make aliyah, and they're like, my Hebrew name is fill in the blank. I'm not saying a name because I don't know all y'all's Hebrew names. I would say maybe not the best. Sometimes also Yiddish names get very tricky because sometimes it's helpful and meaningful to name after a relative who had a Yiddish name, but those are not so common. There's not a lot of Fagis running around in most Reform synagogues, but every once in a while. Your mother was a Fagi? See? It would be meaningful. It's a meaningful name. Okay, thank you all for participating. I don't know if we were playing Ask the Rabbi. We need to know, phone a rabbi in the back. Thank goodness.